So it's strange because I've never done anything like this before, but I'm just going to start at the beginning and just start at the beginning. So I was born in 1970 and I was born in the Belfast in the Troubles. I was born in a part of Belfast called South Belfast, the Donegal Road at the bottom. Now at the bottom of the Donegal Road, it's like half a mile, quarter of a mile. You got the falls, which is one of the toughest bits in the Republican side of things in Belfast. And so what happened was, sorry, go on, girl. So what happened was, I used to come into our area, drive up a Donegal Road because it led them into the city centre. And if there was an army patrol or a police patrol or a roadblock, they would turn around with their bomb that they would be taking into the city centre and they would leave it in my area. So where I lived in Kilburn Street, I lived in number 5. And so number 3, number 1, back alleyway shop. So they blew the shop up. They blew the cinema, and then they turned it into a carpet place, and they blew that up. So by the age of 8, I'd already been terrified by bombs going off. And when I say terrified, I mean I'm standing at the front door with my mum with her arms on my shoulder, and I'm bawling my eyes out because they put 5 bombs a few streets away in a factory where the local people work making jeans. And it was terrifying. When you hear a bomb go off, you feel it before you hear it. It's like, I don't know how it works, like, but you feel it before you hear it. It's like a double daunt. It's like boom. You know, when you're actually there, it's boom. That's the way it makes the noise it makes. So it was terrifying. So along with that, soldiers up and down the street. I used to go to SB Snooker Club where Alex Higgins used to play. Just try and get a catch a hang him. It was up an alleyway, and one day 2 paramilitaries brought a guy down, dragged him down the alleyway, took him into the darkness, and I heard 2 gunshots. And the guy was screaming, like screaming. They said they put vinegar into the the gunshot wounds. You know, could be that's a story, like, but the noise he made, it's understandable, like. But so things were pretty crazy, you know. And then on top of all that, my mum died when I was 8. She died of cancer, and she was down for maybe about a year, going in there to hospital and stuff like that. And that was difficult because I only had my mum, didn't have any other family. You know, my mum didn't think she could have me. She couldn't have kids. She had me in her 40s, and it was a one night stand with a guy from Sandy Row. And when my mum died, he didn't want nothing to do with me because he already had a family. So I was put in the care. I was made a ward of court. That means the government look after me. So first care, I'm not going to go into too much detail, right? But the first care home I went into, I was abused. And then the second one, I moved into because I was going from primary school to secondary school. They moved me into East Belfast on the Woodstock Road. Absolutely amazing place. Amazing area, East Belfast. But I was abused again. An older guy, I was 11. In my same, and there's only 2 of us in this room, so it was hard work. You know what I mean? Wasn't sleeping at night. You know what I mean? Having to keep one eye open and everything. And then school was suffering. I was shaved all my hair off, tattooed my arms from top to bottom with a needle and Indian ink. I even spelled the girl's name backwards at 11. Instead of writing May, I wrote Yam. So all this is going on, and while that's going on as well, when I'm in school, they're making me sit in, especially in the deputy headmasters, Mr. Hyman in Durmore High School. He used to make me sit in his class during break time and lunch break because I had a skinhead. Wasn't allowed to mix with other kids. So there's a lot of stuff going on then. Eventually I stopped going to school. There's a minute children's home, you know what I mean? And like there's all other stuff's going on, like where I'm wanting attention, and there's only like 2-3 members of staff and maybe 14, 15 kids, you know. It was, you know, I was a problem child. There's no 2 ways about it. I spent most of my young life getting held, pinned down by members of staff and fighting and then crying, and it's just crazy. You know what I mean? Looking back at it, it's like I could cry for myself sometimes, you know what I mean? Because it was sad. So because I wasn't going to school, they put me in this place called Rathgale when I was 12. And I was only placed in this Rathgale. I was only boy in this place, Rathgale, that hadn't committed a crime. Everybody in there were just and for the same as me, broken families, but were involved in like burglaries and stuff like that, and just fighting and all that. I hadn't. I was only 12, so these are older guys I was in with. Believe it or not, this is where I met some of my best friends, my childhood friends, guys I grew up with, guys through the paramilitaries and everything in Northern Ireland as we got into our 20s and 30s. Quite a lot of them are dead, to be honest with you. But so I'm in Rathgale, and I'm learning new things in life. I'm starting to grow up. But before I jump into Rathgale, I finished in the children's home as well. This is not a reason. It's because the only way I could stop this guy was by hurting him. So I smashed an alarm clock that I got from a social worker, destroyed him, totally smashed it over his head. And I didn't get charged with it because I was so young. I think I was only 11. And I think the circumstances and stuff like that saved me. I don't know what they would have done, but to them I was still a problem child. It was like, I was bad, you know what I mean? It's understandable, I suppose, in that time and that day, you know what I mean? Nobody was really talking to me or asking me, or I wasn't seeing psychiatrists or nothing like that. I was just being pinned down all the time. So into Rathgale, and then from Rathgale, just escalated. So it did. Started running away with these older boys and going into different areas, different Protestant areas, and I've met some characters in my day. So anyway, I'm going to jump forward to 15. That's when I was lucky enough to meet an absolutely amazing family. It was a house mother in Rathgale, because I ended up going back to Rathgale. It was and absolutely amazing house mother. Because all the kids were going home at Christmas time and I wasn't, she asked the staff could she take me home for Christmas dinner. And brilliant, you know what I mean? She had 2 daughters and a son, and obviously the husband, and I call them mum, dad, sisters and brothers, because they fostered me. And eventually she asked, can I keep him? And they were just glad to get rid of me, to be honest with you, But even though she's an absolutely amazing woman, Margaret Harper her name was, and she was, I think about her every day, and I'm always talking to her alongside my own mum, and but no matter, she tried so hard, and I'll tell you a wee story. It was like, I was on the fringes of the paramilitaries, and she's went up to I'm still friends with this guy today. She went up to the commander of that area and had a go at him, but her heart was in the right place. But I was who I was, My mum brought me up to be a prod and a loyalist, and that's all I knew was what my mum had left me. She'd be a Christian. She'd took me to church, Sunday school, BB, every 12th of July. Never missed it. Joined the Orange Order, like 9 years old or something, the juniors, and I was running behind the older boys to keep up with them up at Donegal Road. They go to the meetings every week. So I knew who I was and what I was meant to be, That was the only thing I had going for me, to be honest. I had no brothers or sisters and nobody looked out for me. The boys in the street looked out for me, the older boys, and this is what I'm saying about East Belfast. Even though I had our problems in the home, the boys in the street were good to me, Other people looked after me. My mates' mums and dads looked after me, fed me, kept me away, stopped me getting lifted. But living on the street, it makes you tough, it makes you hard. And I wasn't a violent person, and I've never changed. I'm a really kind-hearted soul, and I love people, and I love animals and all that. So it's never went that way to the psychopath bit, or the sociopath. I've always kept a good grip on my morals. But by this stage, by the time that Margaret took me in with her family, the damage had already been done, and I just wanted to be something and somebody from my country, and my mates that I was running about with were exactly the same. We all thought the same, So long story short, so you have commanders, you have big commanders and you've got smaller commanders. I'm not going to go right into it, right? But so we had a commander who had us doing things, and this happened quite a lot, you know what I mean? These smaller commanders would have younger boys doing stuff and saying it was for the cause, and really it was just to fill their pockets. And as we progressed through the organisation, this is when we realised, and it didn't end well for some of them, to be honest with you. You can't do that. it's stealing from the cause. So yeah, so we end up doing. There was a job to be done, and there was a week's takings, and the job was done, and the money wasn't there. But as we were leaving, there was a woman sitting with her handbag in her lap, and the guy I was with said, grab that bag. So I went to grab the bag. She went, oh son, it's my bag. And I went, sorry, hen, no, because that's the way I was, you know. That's where the takings was, you know. So, but I was 16, just turned 16 at the time. It was my first armed robbery. So obviously, progresses from there. But I got 3 years for that. I got remanded, and at 16, I was in the Crumlin Road in A-Wing as a loyalist prisoner. It was amazing, amazing. I was there with my heroes, guys I looked up to, guys I heard stories about, and like it was the Crumlin Road A-Wing was like loyalist and Republicans. So you had IRA men and UVF and UDA men all in the same wing, but we were segregated. We obviously there was. So when I'm a loyalist, now I've got a Republican IRA man either side of me in the cell, and they've got either, unless they're at the end of the landing, they'll have a loyalist either side of them. And when we are out in exercise, they'll be out slopping out, you know. When they're out in exercise, we'll probably be getting our dinner, you know what I mean? And we take turns of getting wreck. So it was fun because it was like, I think it was a squad years in, I think it was about 12 years in from the same area. We were all going to court in a big horse box, you know, all together. It was 16-year-old. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant, you know what I mean? I can't think of anything that was bad. Every party it was exciting, you know. So I don't want to go into that too much because, you know, I'll be here all day. So anyway, ends up getting 3 years after doing 10 months with my man. You do a year and a half, so I was out in 9 months, 8 months. 2 seconds. So I done that, and I was out. I was out about a month. Sorry. I was out about a month, and I knew people in England, but there was I can't really go into too much, you know what I mean? But it's a long time ago, so, and there was a pub, and I'm not going to name anything like that, in England, and they were collecting money for the IRA, and they wanted guys to go over and just have a wee look, you know. I was like, this is a year, so I was 16. I turned 18 in England actually, so I did. I turned 18 in England, and there was me and another Scottish guy. The guy comes down from Scotland, and another guy. Tulip, come here, come on, baby. Got my dogs on me. Yep. So anyway, Scottish guy crumbled. Caused a lot of problems for me. I got arrested for conspiracy, cause explosions, possession of firearms, stuff like that. And I ended up got all down to a building society armed robbery in Northampton, and I got 5 years for that. I got another year when I was in England, because the England jails, England jails were a lot harder. Come on, guys, this way. Come on, take them away. England jails, totally different ball game. Come on, this way. Chill up. Come on. Come on. England jails, different ball game from what I knew in Northern Ireland, but I still was a boy, you know. I was a lad, you know what I mean? And so I went into Glenparva, one of the biggest, at the time it was the biggest young offenders in the whole of Europe. Huge. And just to give you a wee idea, so I went in the Glenparva. This is like how everything went. I'm not going to go all into all the details in England, because again I'd be here all day, because I was in about 12 different jails. They kept moving me and put me in diggers and segregation. I mean, I spent weeks in segregation with nothing but a vest, a pair of shorts, and a Bible. Not even a mattress until it was time to go, like night time, they let you have a mattress. You know, this is 18, you know. Loads of that all the way through it. But to start anyway, I'll just give you an idea how it started, so I'll give you an idea how it went. So I went in the reception, And my lawyer has given me civvies, they call them, real cigarettes. And I've got my cigarettes, and I went up to the hatch to get my grub, and the guy behind the hatch goes, "If you give me a cigarette, I'll give you a big dinner." So I looked at him and goes, "Do you think this is my first time yet?" Because I'm been in the Crum. I'm from Belfast, you know what I mean? I January was representing my country, and that's what got me through it, like, to be honest with you. And I'm like, just give me my dinner, man. I'm not here to play games, man. This is my first rodeo. And he's like, "I'm no fucking serving you that attitude." I was like, "Nee, boy," I flipped the hats over and went through, filled my plate up. There was about 3 or 4 of them there. But nobody I worry about. So I sits down, gets my dinner, eats my dinner, and I give everybody around me, because this is full of guys, young guys just coming out of court, all the rest of it. And give everybody sitting around me a cigarette. Next thing I know, this big, huge guy, I remember there's screws in this room as well watching us. This big, huge guy, young guy, prisoner, comes up behind me and he goes, "Do you go into my fucking servery and take food?" And I'm like, "Aye." And I said aye. I stood up really quick and banged the chair back so it was out of the way. Because I know this sounds like a bit bullshitty, but I swear on my mother's grave, I don't tell lies. I don't need to tell lies. Look, see, half the time I don't even believe the shit myself, because I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck did you do that? How did you get through? I'm 55 now. So I banged the chair back with the back of my knees, my legs, and this went flying, and I've just got into him. He doesn't even know what hit him. Like, I just rapidly just rattled him. Bum, 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 you know? And he's went down, and by the end the screws have jumped on. But anyway, the moral of the story was, by the time I got up onto the wing I was meant to be going on, everybody had heard about me. So, yeah, it was good. There was good times in there, there was hard times in there, but I never had any. I held my own, and I never got any damage done, real damage done, which is good, you know, considering it's a really violent place, especially Aylesbury back in the 90s, 90, 91, brutal, absolutely brutal. So it was 70% black, all young black young Londoners, and with loads of attitude, you know what I mean? I couldn't understand anything they were saying. They talked like a funny way and that. And then there was white guys who thought they were black, that talked like them and walked like them. You know, they got this walk and their jeans hang down off their bum. I'd never seen anything like this before, you know. I was all right because I was selling cigarettes 1 for 2 back. And every time I got, I think it was 75, I got a fiver for them, a £5 note from this main black guy. I could go into some stories in that jail. I could go into some stories in every jail. But like I said, I'd be here all day. So anyway, done 4 out of the 6. I got an extra year for maliciously wounding a guy in prison when I was 19. And I got an extra year added onto my sentence. So I ended up doing a 6. I started with 5, ended up with 6. So I done 4. There's even a story at the end of that about how I got back home and everything. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. I ended up getting home leave at the very end, and got home leave to Margaret's house, who fostered me at a Rathgale. And I got a phone call from the governor in Dartmoor, because I ended up in Dartmoor. Like, they called it the dustbin of England at the time. That's where they ended up putting me once I turned 21. And he phoned me up on home leave and said, "Don't bother coming back to England, hand yourself into your local prison." So it was quite good, and it was quite funny as well, because when I went to the Crumlin Road, they didn't know nothing about it, and it was the soldiers, because the soldiers do the perimeter yard jails, and they were like, "I don't know nothing about you, you know." And I'm like, "Well, that's not been here. If you don't open hatch and let me in, I'm on my way. Just make sure you know I've been here, get my name down, whatever." They end up coming and get me. But anyway, so that's the thing. I wasn't out very long in the end now. I think it must have been about, I'll be telling lies if it was any more than a month again. But that was just a wee stupid thing, you know what I mean? An insurance place, a big insurance place. But that was an attempt. It didn't come off the way it was meant to and stuff. And it was pretty shit, like. Not in a bad way, just fucking the job didn't come through. But I ended up, I was looking at about 8 years, you know what I mean? And I ended up taking a deal. The prosecution said, "If you plead guilty, we'll give you 3. I'd already done 3, and I've just finished a 6. And I thought, you know, I'd already done a good bit in remand, so I'm thinking, I'm not going to turn this down. I could have probably beat the charge, to be honest with you, but I wasn't going to take the chance and risk and gamble 8 years, you know what I mean? I'm a gambler. I like gambling in the football, so I know my odds. So anyway, that was pretty good. That was an amazing time, you know what I mean? We were in the Crum, And Tulip, come on here. It's just a bit windy up here, guys. When I'll walk this way. So I was in the Crum again on Loyalist Prisoner and A-Wing, and there was lots of problems. Guys weren't getting slopped out. Screws were going slow, and so we weren't getting slopped out because they weren't happy with the conditions. We weren't happy with the conditions. All sorts of bad shit was happening in that jail at the time. We were going to war. The RA and us, we were going to war. We were like trying to get in each other's cells and attacking each other on site and the way to visits and everything. It was absolute mayhem. And I'll tell you the reason why, because they put a bomb in C-Wing and killed 3 good men when they were out in recreation. And that's why it went the way it went, you know. But that's another story again. So it was pretty crazy. And then, like, so what happened was, going to cut all the details out, but we end up out in the exercise, freezing the lock up, we got the shelter bit down, put it up against a wee wall, managed to get on the one wall, up the pipes to the side of the main jail, and onto the roof. 106 loyalist prisoners on the roof for the Crumlin Road prison. Our mates were coming down, we had bands coming down, it was amazing. It was amazing. Oh, honestly, man, being a prisoner, you know, being all that anti-establishment and everything, getting to destroy a jail like that, man. I know yous are going, but you know, it was bad. It was bad. We were slopping out. We were having this shit in newspaper and throw it out the window. You know what I mean? It was bad. So anyway, we get on the roof and he says, okay, come down the roof and everything will change. So we were like, okay, no problem. We came down off the roof. So we waited a week or so. Nothing changed. So the order came in from outside, the command, to destroy the jail, finish the jail off. And how we done that was we took the bed ends off our beds, the single beds that were bolted to the ground, and we used them to dig through the walls into the cells of the IRA men. Now, I can't tell you what that's like. I will tell you what that's like one day. You know, I will do a more thingy thing for you, so because it's amazing. It needs to be told. It was absolutely amazing. Me and my cellmate was a big bear. He was a commander of the landing. Big bear of a man. I'm not going to name him, because that wouldn't be fair. But he was a beast. A beast, that man. It's one of the only men I left the UDN command and joined UVF command. Only man I know that's done that. So that tells you the character of the guy. But anyway, we goes through the wall with the bed ends. There was 2 provos next door. I'm not going to say their names now. And they were like, the first person was through our wall's going to get taken off, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, has their plasters coming off? Because I'm talking, these walls there must be like, really, really thick. We're taking boulders out of the walls. You know what I mean? That's how thick the walls were. We were taking boulders out. This is a Victorian jail. By the time their plaster was coming off through their wall, they were screaming out the door for the screws, because the army and the screws were coming in to get the IRA men out. And so obviously we got through their cell. Obviously the lights and all are out. So we'd run out of petrol lighters at the time. We daft petrol lighters, and so they'd left their tobacco and everything. So we weren't like that, you know. We weren't like that. We would never steal or anything like that or do anything against them like that. We weren't that. We were never like that. But we needed their lighter to see the fuck what we were doing. You know what I mean? So we went through the hole and got their lighter. Came back in our cell. We started going through the floor. Don't know how long it took us. But we got through the floor, you know what I mean? If you think the wall's thick, jeez, oh man. So we got through the floor, and there was 4 of Johnny Adair's boys. I'm not going to name them now, but down below. And 2 of them had got into one of their cells, and so but they were getting handcuffed by the mufti mob. The police and the army were coming in, and they were being a bit heavy. And I can remember shouting down, "Oh, you fucking do that again! You're getting a brick in your head!" And they've looked up and they've just said, "Jesus Christ." So anyway, we shut the jail down. We all got moved to the maze. It's block 2. There's some stories about that as well, but special breed of characters, us Ulster men. I can tell you that for nothing. So yeah, it was good. So anyway, we get out and all that, and next thing you know, ceasefires. And I'm leaving loads of stuff out, obviously, because I can't tell you what I've done. You know what I mean? There's only a couple of people in this world know what I've done, you know. And that's just the way it is, and I'm happy with that. But I'm proud of who I am. I'm a good loyalist, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's all that should matter to everybody. You know what I mean? You should be able to put your head down at night and be proud of who you are. That's all. But whether it's right or wrong in your eyes, I'm proud. You know, and that's all that matters. To be honest with you, to me. But anyway, the ceasefires were called, and we were told not to lift a gun, you know. I could tell you a story about that as well, but I'm not going to go into that. And And I'd already been, cause I mean I'm like in my 30s, hitting 40 now, 30s, 32 I think it was, and like I'm, I'm gonna tell you what they say about me. So the police and newspapers say I'm responsible personally for £900,000 worth of bank robberies in Northern Ireland. Some people say it's in their 30s. You know, some people say I've robbed near enough every bank in Belfast, if not once, twice. Now, obviously, people exaggerate, so they do, and nobody could rob every bank. You know what I mean? Every bank without a screen. They called us the counter crew, so they did. That's what the name. That's what everybody knew us. And I'm talking about everybody, Catholics and Protestants in Northern Ireland. They knew when a bank got robbed in Northern Ireland, or in Belfast at least, everybody knew it was the counter crew. The NLA, they had their squad. They were doing cash machines, cash and delivery, and taking the boxes and putting the boxes in the wheelie bins. Can't say too much about that because obviously need to be careful. I don't give people ideas. That would never be good. But it's coming a cashless society. You know, I was the last bank robber. There's nobody came behind me like. But anyway, I ended up getting arrested in Northern Ireland and brought to Scotland for 5 bank robberies. Alleged 5 bank robberies that were done. Clydesdale banks. I was taking a trial with no evidence, no forensics, no DNA, no identifications. The word of one man who turned Queen's evidence and put 4 of us away. I got 18 years. The 3 of the boys got 5 years each. I then got it down to 15 years because they got done with 1 bank robbery. I got done with 3. They say I done 2 banks on my own, and that's why I never got done for them 2. And I only got found guilty for the 3. They gave me 18 years. Now I was told when I got arrested and was on remand that I would get 18 to 21, 22 years. That was right at the start. I was on remand for a year because the reason how they got me on remand was they said they had my thumbprint or fingerprint on the counter of a bank, which I knew was impossible. Bank robbers don't leave fingerprints, and so obviously I couldn't say, listen, I robbed that bank, but I know I never left a fingerprint. You know what I mean? So I had to get experts in, like from England, London, and that. And it was a big deal. There was a case, Shirley McKee, just before it went on, about a fingerprint as well. And it's a scary thing, my story, the fingerprint story, because many guys have been arrested and have said, we've got your fingerprint, and they've just pled guilty. You know, I knew that wasn't my fingerprint, but it was enough to get me remanded. It was enough to get my co-accused to turn Queen's evidence. Sad that as well, because that was a friend of mine, 10-year friend. It was the last person I ever thought. But not everybody's cut from the same cloth, and I don't hold anything against them because at the end of the day, it's a long time's passed. And yes, I was angry. Every day I was angry of what my best friend had done to me. But it is what it is. These things happen in life, and they test you, and they make you the character who you are. So anyway, I got it down to 15. Then I realised once I was in there how the system works in Scotland. Now it's a different ballgame in Scotland completely. Scotland's got their own laws almost. So in Scotland you can do half your sentence if you get first parole. So I knew that a couple of things I needed to do, you know what I mean, to get thingy. So, but the way it worked, it's as if I always feel like I've got a guardian angel, and I mean that. I've had 4 attempts on my life, and I've just been really lucky. I've had a couple of close calls where I've nearly been killed by accident, nearly walking into a bus and a stranger putting his arm out and stopped me. Like, just, I don't even know how he seen me coming, you know what I mean? I was walking behind him. It was in Edinburgh. It was my first home leave, and I was like looking for my wife, and like, you know, went to walk across this road, and a bus came flying around the corner at the exact moment, and this guy. So things like that happened to me as well. So I do believe I'm a very lucky man. And another point I want to make as well, I got married in prison. That was my first ever family. So I met Sammy, my wife, when I first went in. I was only looking for a pen pal. I was wanting somebody to just talk to until I got, sorry about the wind. I was wanting somebody to talk to until I got my transfer back to Belfast, and started writing to Sammy. I fell in love with her straight away. Trying to get that song for you. I fell in love with her straight away. We were married in 3 months, and we were together for 17 years. I lost her at COVID, the start of COVID. I lost my father-in-law a year after getting out, and I lost my mother-in-law who had MS 6 years after getting out. Then I lost my wife at the start of COVID, and that was one of the hardest parts ever, if I'm honest. That was difficult because she was only I haven't had family, and it was like when I got married, it was like she was everything. She was my family, but it never worked out. But I've learned, like, I wear trauma like armor, and this is how I cope. I've got anger issues, and I use cannabis sometimes to help me with that. I don't take any medication. I'm diagnosed with complex PTSD and a personality disorder, but I think I'm alright, But at the same time, I understand that I'm not going to be normal because of what I've been through. But that's really it in a nutshell. And like, the finishing a good note, I'm in the happiest place I've ever been in my life. I'm about to have my first ever child. My wife had her tubes tied, and I was never in a position to have children ever because of my upbringing and my lifestyle and people trying to kill me and all the rest of it, and being in the prison. So the thought of having children terrified me. But I'm in a place now where I'm settled down. I'm in a beautiful place, with some really nice people around me, and it's peaceful, and it's a beautiful place to bring up a daughter. And the reason why I do the videos I do is because of my daughter, because I can see where we're going. And I don't understand a lot of you don't see it because you don't live it. It's not around you, But you need to have a look what's there. It's like a tide coming in, You need to say how this tide's going to go. It's the only way I can describe it. It's there, you can see it. If you look for it, you can see it. If you've got children, you should be looking. And I don't want to scaremonger or be hateful, but we have got a problem. The government are making a serious problem for us. They're bringing undocumented men into this country who aren't integrating. They're wanting us to change like them instead of changing like us. And we don't want them to change like us, but we certainly don't want to change like them. We want to keep Christianity. We want to keep our churches. We want to have nativity plays in our schools. But everything's getting segregated, just like Northern Ireland, the Catholics and Protestants, and that's the scariest bit, because when you segregate people, extremists arise up in the segregation. And if these police aren't going into these areas and policing them the way they should be, then the extremism is going to rise extremely high. Because let's be honest, the moderate Muslims can't do nothing about it. Just like moderate Catholics couldn't do nothing about the IRA. You understand? It's like, what can they do or say to these guys without being something like, not even something bad happening, but they could be put out of things, kicked out of the mosque and all that, if they're, you know what I mean? And so we need to be asking questions about things like, who's in charge of the mosque? What do normal Muslims do to fight extremism in their own communities? These are normal questions that I'm really interested to find out. But every time I try and ask them, especially with Muslims as well, other people shut me down. I find that other people that aren't Muslim shut me down, and I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm looking for a genuine answer of what can they do in their communities to stop extremism growing. Because this is the country where my child's going to be growing up, and this is something that I need to be thinking about and looking at, because I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm 55, My baby's mother is gonna, and she's got a massive, huge, brilliant family. So, I'm not concerned about my girl's gonna be brought up with love. You know what I mean? Unlike me, she's gonna have the opposite, and I've made sure of that. But I'm not gonna be here. This is the thing. I don't take drugs and I don't drink. I like cannabis and I smoke. You know what I mean? But that's it. That's it. Don't get me wrong, I've been doing every route there is to be travelled, and lucky enough I've came out okay, with my head held high and all the rest of it, but, I'm just lucky where I'm lucky, I'm really, really lucky, and the only reason, like I say, I'm not doing this for likes and all the rest of it. I'll never monetize anything. I don't want any money. If I had any money, I would just give it to Tommy, if I made any money from this, Tommy Rumson, but that's it. So I'm having a wee girl, I'm concerned about my wee girl's future, and that's why I do the videos, for no other reason. So I hope this clears some things up for you. I'm an open book, I have got haters. I'm not going to get this far without people hating on me, but it's easy for people to say stuff about you, especially when you're not there. But at the end of the day, I can't stop people hating me. You know what I mean? They've no reason to hate me. I've never given them any reason to hate me. They hate me for whatever reasons in their head. You know, um, anybody, most 99% people, everybody that knows me, if you don't like me, this is what everybody says to me. If you don't get on with me, there's something wrong with you. You know. And yes, I've had fallouts with people, and maybe some other people with mental health problems, like with me, that we've had fallouts with. I'm sorry for, things have escalated. But I'm unforgiving. That's just the way I am. I think it's maybe back to the days in the children's home. I can't let things go. I can't let people do shit to me and say shit to me and all the rest of it. I haven't got the capabilities. I do see a professional for that, and I am working on it. But all I can do is like tell you this is why. You know. But I don't go about bullying people. Never bullied anybody else. I'm not a show off. So if you've got a problem with me, you maybe need to look inside first, you know. But hey, it is what it is. I can't do nothing about that. All I can do is try and do something to help my child when I'm not here and protect this country from God knows what's coming. Hope this helps you guys. You know who you're following.